Hi friends, welcome back to Playing Tribute to Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney, where we are on day 1 of the second trial in Turnabout Serenade, my favorite case of the game. Things are happening, and Darian is looking really suspicious. So, yeah, between the whole thing in the first trial where Lammeror actually named him as a suspicious person because she heard his voice during the gunshots, that's one thing. Then there was, of course, Lammeror being attacked, and we saw him at the Colosseum before she was attacked, so we're very suspicious that he was the one who attacked her. And then he goes and pulls the whole, I'm gonna stop you right there, and you're not gonna be investigating or asking any more questions. When we were talking to Machi about the Virginian cocoon, which is like a smuggling thing that if you're in Virginia and you smuggle the cocoon out of the country, you can be put to death. But it's a cure for a disease, and it's all a question of like, okay, if it's a cure for a disease, why would they make it so that you can't take it out of the country? Like, why not share it with the world? So that was mentioned too. There's a lot more to this case than meets the eye. So let's see if we can start opening some of this stuff in the first part of our trial. And I say first part because it says trial former here, so clearly there's 2 parts of the trial. Is that a painting of the judge? I just noticed that in the background there. Well, this is it. Today's the day it all goes down. And then there was yesterday. This meeting is over. Sorry. Just give us 5 more minutes. We can call them back after that. Sorry, no go. Come on, piano boy. We're leaving. Darian, wait! I never liked you. Either of you. Why didn't he like us, too? Is it because we were the ones who, pointed out that he was the one who made the mistake? Darn it, we were so close! He was about to tell us! Hey, Apollo. He didn't want us to hear what Machi had to say. And I think I know why. Time to bring down a little justice. Eek! What was that? He is heard but unseen. Who's that talking? Valant Grammari, using the door like an average muggle, no less. You aren't the witness today, are you, Uncle Valant? Ha 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 ha! A preposterous proposition. How could I stand upon the stand? Why, my secrets would be free for the plucking. I might even have to sign autographs. That is why I intend to remain hidden for the entire day. Ooh, with vanishing magic? Indeed. I would jump upon an express train and express myself to the next town over. But before I go, a word of warning. Warning? What? A Grand Grammari glamour resides at the root of all that has happened. Do not forget this truth. Glamour? A spell, sorcery, a great illusion. Miss Trucy, though it pains me to part so, I need to get in line for a ticket. Farewell! And there he goes. He sure seems happy about that illusion thing. Oh, big illusions are the bread and butter of a magician. You can't pull off a show without one. The big illusion is always a spectacle to remember. Usually it involves cutting up things, like people or even the Eiffel Tower, anything really. So he was talking about what we saw at the concert. Lammeror's disappearing act. And Prosecutor Gavin's exploding guitar. Wonder what he meant by being the root of all that has happened. Well, it's about time. Shall we go? Excuse me, sir. Yes? The scheduled starting time for the trial has been changed. The trial will not be commencing until 10:30 a.m. Sorry for the inconvenience. Huh? Did something happen? This is the first. It was by the judge's request, some urgent personal business. Great. I bet he stayed up too late last night, watching courtroom dramas. Apparently he's visiting the hospital now. The hospital? Ah. I believe it was mentioned that the Chief Justice's son is unwell. Apparently his condition has worsened considerably this morning. Chief Justice's son. Oh, that's right. Remember yesterday morning the judge said he had to go visit him after the trial? There's an article about it in the newspaper. If you care to read about it yourself. Incuritis. Where have I heard that before? I'll let you read that article for us, Apollo. Just leave the TV guide page to me. Try not to lose the page of the funnies if you can. The plot thickens. Incuritis. The thing that apparently that cocoon can cure. My apologies for the delay. Court is now in session for the trial of... How do you say this name again? Machi Tabai, our suspect for Tsushima. Right. It's his trial, I guess. The defense is prepared, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready to rock. Is something wrong, Your Honor? No, well, yes. It's just I've been friends with the Chief Justice since we were students. It pains me to see him going through such a difficult time. Incuritis, was it? That article said there is no known cure. Herr Judge, let me say with all honesty I feel your pain. But now is not the time for tears. Now is the time for law. Indeed. We left off at quite the juncture yesterday. Interpol number, as well as the revelation of the voice. I wonder how much of the time of any given case is spent in flashbacks. Quite a sensational ending. You would have thought Darien would guest star in a season cliffhanger. As a suspect, I asked the prosecution to look into this matter. Please tell the court your findings. Darien Crescent is a member of my band, the Gavaneers. He is also a detective, making current charges serious indeed. Yet after investigation, I found no cause to alter our case or file new charges. And your reason is? Weren't you aware, Herr Forehead? He has an impeccable alibi. An alibi? Let us review the facts again, shall we? The concert held on the night of the shooting was in 3 sets. The Gavaneers ripped up the stage during the first set. For the second set, our guests took center stage. The only performers appearing were myself, Lemuror, and Machi. Along with the drummer and bassist, for a total of 5. The shooting in the dressing room, however, took place during the 3rd set. Lemuror and the defendant, Machi Tabai, had left the stage at that point, and the Gavaneers were already rocking. This is when 2 shots rang out the scene of the crime. Shots heard by Detective Emma Skye, mind you. And Apollo. You heard them too, right? I sure did. Furthermore, Lemuror herself witnessed the murder of the crime. Well, perhaps I should say she heard the moment of the crime. When she claims to have heard Mr. Lataus and Detective Crescent talking. But that's impossible. Detective Crescent was... Precisely. Detective Crescent was on stage getting his groove on, no less. Voila. A perfect alibi. No offense have anything to add to this. It's true. When I heard those gunshots, he must have been on stage. Still, there's something here that doesn't quite add up. It appears the defense has no objections. I believe we can safely say that Darien Crescent's alibi has been acknowledged. Which means that Lemuror was sadly mistaken. Her testimony cannot be true. Very well. Of course, if we were to disregard her testimony, then I see no evidence keeping us from declaring a verdict. If indeed there are no objections. Uh-oh, Apollo. If he declares a verdict now... But Prosecutor Gavin's case is airtight. Lemuror might have been lying to protect Machi. How can I rely on her testimony? Wait. Not yesterday at the detention center. Right. We have to listen to him. Because Darien stopped us. Machi was trying to tell us something, I know it. Maybe the best thing to do is ask him under oath. Very well. The court finds the defendant. What was his name again?
Objection!
Your Honor! No, that wasn't it. It was something like Marquis or Mr. Justice. Your Honor, before you declare a verdict, I would like to call another witness. Exactly who else do you need to hear from? A witness who, until now, has not been given a chance to speak in this court. Because he doesn't speak English. You don't mean. I do. The defense calls defendant Machi Tabai to the stand. Oh, but he doesn't speak English. We'll use an interpreter. Interpreter? I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere. I only speak a few phrases, such as I love you and where's the toilet. The defense would like to request Lemroar as the interpreter. Lemroar? But there's a possibility she's protecting the defendant. But she'd be interpreting for the defendant. Why would she lie? This is most unusual. Bravo, Herr Forehead. Herr Judge, the prosecution agrees with the defense's request. If Lemroar lies, I'll be able to tell. Even my limited knowledge of the language should be enough for that. Well, both prosecution and defense are for this. I see little cause for refusal. Finally, some progress. Bailiff, please show the defendant and Lemroar to the witness stand. I suppose there is a first time for everything. Shall we proceed? Your name, to begin with. If you would, Lemroar. Yes. He says Machi Tabai, the defendant. Certainly first for the courtroom. Not that we have limited interpretation of that message in particular. So far, so good. Very well, Mr. Justice, if you would. Huh? If I would what, Your Honor? Would what? You called the defendant to the stand, did you not? What did you have him testify about? What do I want him to testify about? I hadn't thought that far yet. Apollo! Aren't you going to ask him what he was about to tell us yesterday? How can I if I don't know what he was saying? Excuse me a moment, if I might speak. Yes, Lemroar. Just now, Machi said that there's something about which he wishes to testify. Machi wants to testify about something. What could it be? What sort of testimony is he talking about? One moment, please. The suspense is killing me. What? 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 Well, Lemroar. According to Machi, he has proof of his innocence. What? This is a surprise. Yahoo! Victory, Apollo! We did it! This is sounding too good to believe, and I know what that usually means. Oh, if it's true, this is final testimony. Lemroar, I mean Machi. Please testify to the court. Very well. He says that word of Lucer Lutas's death came as a great shock. But if the killing truly followed the lyrics of my song, I, that is he, could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them. I see. He wouldn't have understood the English lyrics of the song. That would prevent him from following them so closely. I wondered what he meant by proof. Why, he would only have to ask Lemroar to know the meaning of that song. Lemroar, did you ever explain the lyrics of the song to him? I did tell him generally what the song was about, but never in so much detail, and he never asked. As my oft-repeated warning already fled that forehead, Lemroar might be protecting the witness. Oh, anyway, let us proceed with the cross-examination. Mr. Justice, if you would. Yes, Your Honor. Something's hidden in that testimony, I know it. I'll just have to trust my bracelet to tell me where. It worked yesterday, it'll work today. Yeah, we had a few issues yesterday with being suspicious about whether he actually understood English. That's the mysteries. Is this the only real thing that's showing? Oh, hello.
Gotcha!
Again, I know where all of the twitches and ticks are, So I'm going across the whole thing for you guys, for your sake, so you can listen and watch. Machi, you can't fool my eyes. You glanced toward her the very moment Lammermoor said the word English. Why? And don't bother interpreting that. He understands me. Machi, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? Oh, what are you saying? Of course he can't. Must he continue this charade? Mr. Justice, Machi says this. I know the word English. Huh? Before coming to this country, he heard me speaking English. He learned the name for this language, that is all. What? Give me a break! Is that such an unusual word to understand? Do you not know Espanol, for instance? Well, yeah, but... I'm sorry, but he truly does not understand your language. Well, then explain this. How does he know the crime followed the lyrics? Have you always been such a suspicious-minded lad? It is simple. So simple it hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper. The newspaper? The Virginian Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know. Even though it's a small, sheltered country, you can buy its newspaper in this country. They've already begun to report about the case in our homeland. I was right. What's wrong, Mr. Justice? Your eyes, they are quite fierce all of a sudden. Machi is lying. Maybe it's time to show them proof that he's lying. Does not mention the lyrics of Lammermoor's ballad.
Take that!
I have here a Borginian newspaper, the Borginian Daily Bugle, as a matter of fact. Indeed, there is a feature article about the case. Could you read this for me, Machi? That's right. It doesn't mention the lyrics. What? What is this all about? I'm sorry, Machi. You couldn't have read about the lyrics in a Borginian newspaper. If you tell the truth, I can help you. You need to be honest and I can help you. What does this mean? I don't see how it's possible. I know. You must have heard the lyrics when the police were doing their questioning. Yes. Not possible. The subject of the lyrics was not brought up in police questioning. I read the full report myself. So the lyrics weren't in the newspaper and the police didn't mention them. The only place you could have heard them was in this courtroom. In English, no less. Witness will explain himself. Machi says... He says... Yes? It is true I read the newspaper. But this is not where I learned the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember. You remember. He says he heard of the lyrics from me. What? Is this true, Lammermoor? Yes, I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself. Looks like Herr Forehead's been jumping to conclusions again. Seems so, yes. No. It was onto something. I know it. I can't let this chance slip away. Time is an issue today, Mr. Justice. Are you finished with the cross-examination? What are you going to do, Apollo? If I'm going to keep on cross-examining, I better have an angle of attack. Or else. The bracelet's still reacting. Your Honor, please allow me to continue. If you must, you must. Very well. Witness? Understand. I bet it's reacting to her. Let's see if she's swallowing again.
Gotcha!
Lammermoor. I'm currently cross-examining Machi. Why should you be uncertain? Me? Uncertain? Yes, you swallowed the very moment you told the court. It was I who explained. You see, there's little point in trying to hide anything from you. Lammermoor, are you indeed protecting someone? It's not a question with a simple answer. Did tell the truth, I did not believe myself. Then allow me to answer for you. Lemuror, you're protected. That's why you lied and told us you had explained how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. Machi, I believe you didn't do it. Really, I trust you. But you've lied to us twice. And now you have Lemuror relying on your behalf. If this is going to work, you have to trust me too. Your two lies cover a simple truth. You understand English. You have to. Hey, he said, "Ah," in English. Witness, is this true? Do you understand English? Yes, a little only. What? First he could see, now he can talk. And you did not know about this, Lemuror? No, I did not. Just quite surprised. How many secrets is this witness hiding? Last. Machi, could you tell us what really happened? No shooting. I did no shooting. So you weren't in the dressing room when I heard those 2 gunshots, correct? Apparently the answer to that question isn't simple either. I was in dressing room, behind desk. Manager, he on floor. Which would be after the shooting, right? Then there's voice. Voice or voices? Was it you and Emma, Apollo? So when Machi went into the dressing room, Mr. Wood's house had already been shot. And then we came to it. Panel high up, I take off. Run away. Run away. So it was you who escaped from the air vent. As the prosecution has held all along, no less. The defendant has admitted to being at the scene. Might we take that as a confession?
Objection!
No, he clearly denied that he did it. I know shooting. Manager on floor, already on floor.
Objection!
The victim had already been shot, you say. I find that hard to believe. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of the crime. This can only mean one thing. He is the shooter. Does the defendant have anything to say to this? He's clammed up, Apollo. Then let's ask Mr. Justice. Do you require any further testimony from the witness? Is that it? Is there nothing else I can get him to testify about? Wait, no, of course there is. Cocoon has to have something to do with this. Machi, please, tell us the truth for your own sake. No more speak. Not to any of you. So much for your precious trust, Hair Forehead. Hey, you were the one who didn't believe him. Regardless, this brings us to an impasse. It does seem that the defense and defendant are at odds. I doubt we are likely to learn anything more of value should this continue. I see no other course but to declare a 5-minute recess. The defense will work things out with their defendant so that we might proceed. This might be the world's shortest part. Apollo Eustace. That's justice. Better learn how to say it if you ever want to get some. Believe, I know shooting. Machi claims Mr. Wood's house was already down on the ground when he entered the room. Maybe it was a trap and he walked right into it? Suddenly I hear revolver. Close. Very close. Then I hear voice. You heard gunshots. Yes, it's true. I hear revolver, but only sound. Wait, you're saying you went into the dressing room and found Mr. Lid's house already dead, and then you heard shots? If that's true. So you were at the scene of the crime when you heard those shots. And you escaped through the air vent. I know. Huh? What do you know? I know if I open a vent, I can leave stage and backstage. The vents went to both the stage and the backstage area. Is that what he means? Hey, he's right. Look, Apollo. Yeah. But how'd you know it was connected like that? Wait, I bet his father was the architect who designed the hall or something. I hear this from a magician. Magician? Don't look at me! A magician, huh? Well, at least we're clear on one thing. Machi didn't shoot Mr. Lataus. Yeah, but what does that leave us with? We're supposed to say he went into the room to find the body and then he heard the shots? No one's going to go over well in court. Not. Apollo, you're his defense. You're supposed to believe whatever he says, even lies. That's what Daddy always told me. I'll just pretend you misheard him. Every time. So, what do we do? You sure you won't testify, Machi? No talking. No. Well, it was worth a shot. A cocoon. Of course he's scared. Oh well, I guess we'll just have to try a different approach. That's the spirit, Apollo! So what's your plan? If Machi won't testify about it, we'll have to get someone else to testify. Someone else? I think we're out of time. Let's get back in there. Right! Oh no, we're still going. It's not the shortest part. Court is now back in session. Mr. Justice, have you sorted things out with the defendant? Yes, Your Honor. We had a good talk. Very well. So, will he testify? Your Honor, the defendant will not testify. What? Shame. Here I thought this was your big chance to turn the case around. Actually, it is. The defense would like to approach this case from a different angle, Your Honor. A different angle? If Machi won't testify, then I know who will. I'd like to cross-examine the witness in this case, Lemroor. Lemroor?
Objection!
What are you up to now? I thought we determined yesterday that Lemroor's testimony was insubstantial. There's nothing you can... Lemroor was taken to the hospital yesterday with injuries. What happened? She was assaulted, Your Honor. Assaulted? Someone wanted Lemroor dead. Thankfully, she was able to save herself. What? I've heard no such report. Prosecutor Gavin. Why would anyone be out to kill Lemroor? Can you think of a reason? Well, think of how she is known in our country. A singer from overseas who doesn't speak English, yes? Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut. Who could that have been? You don't think. I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Lataus. The killer was afraid of her, afraid of what she might say. The defense believes that something was hidden in her testimony yesterday. Something that the killer doesn't want getting out. So, am I to understand that this is what you are saying? Namely, that there is a nugget of truth in Lemroor's testimony. A nugget we have yet to uncover. Exactly. If Lemroor was attacked, this has serious implications. Very well. There were some vague points in her testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we did not inquire as deeply as we might have into some. And the court will hear Lemroor's testimony once more. Lemroor, I must apologize. We must ask you to stand up and speak. You need not apologize. I know that Machi is innocent, and I will do all I can until the court realizes this. Let's review your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots and the shooter's voice through the window. And that the voice belonged to Darian Crescent, yes? That is correct. At which point I proved she could not be correct. She couldn't have heard any of those things. The small window in the scene was closed and was found to be quite soundproof. You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice. I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there. There is, it seems, much you do not know. And yes, it's my duty to hear him out. Perhaps the witness would be so kind as to testify once more to the court. Of course, Your Honor. I was on my my way from the stage to the backstage exit. That's when I heard them, Mr. Lathouse and the detective. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot and stopped. Then I heard another gunshot. There was the smell of gunpowder. I knew I must tell someone, but I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past the small window. I love this case. Sorry, I'm foreseeing what we're gonna figure out here. Pretty much the same as yesterday's testimony. I am sorry. I am not used to speaking much in this language. Perhaps my descriptions are lacking in some way. Yet everything I have said here is the truth. Then it is my distinct displeasure to say this. What you have said to have happened is impossible. Do I have to repeat myself? Lammermoor was attacked because of this testimony. What? Trucy? Apollo, you know, for a moment there, you're pretty cool. Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead. Bluffing to the max! The defense attorney's way. Very well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine the witness. Let's press everything, because that's always the best bet. Especially later in the case like this.
Hold it!
Something wrong. I raised an objection. No, I didn't. I just said hold it. But she's saying the same thing she said before. Mr. Justice. Sorry, it's nothing. Please continue with your testimony. They mean the reckless youth these days. The one in red over there is a shining example here, Judge. You're the last person who should be pointing fingers, Mr. Rockstar.
Hold it!
Darian Crescent. I did not know his name at the time, but yes, it was him. The one who took the stand yesterday. How many times do I need to remind you that's impossible? There's no way you could have heard him. Because the window at the scene was closed? Is that why? Of course. Apollo, if we keep asking the same questions as yesterday, we won't get anywhere. She's right. Maybe there's a different angle I can try. What were they talking about? Limmerward, do you by any chance remember what they were saying to each other? If so, please tell us. I've given it much reflection, but I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember. I only heard one phrase clearly. A whole phrase? You remember something that was said? Why didn't you say anything yesterday? Although my memory is clear, I was afraid to speak. You see, I do not understand what was said. This could be it, the clue I've been waiting for. What did he say? It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Lathouse. The shooter, then. Darian Crescent. What did he say? It's over. Press the switch, now. Switch? And the shooter said this to the victim, Mr. Lathouse. I thought it quite strange myself afterward. It's just a mystery. What could that possibly mean? Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this? I mean, sure, I'd be delighted. It's very, very vital. Maybe we could add it to the testimony? Maybe, Apollo?
Objection!
Press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words. Oh, yet there was nothing at the scene that could be called a switch, save the lights. True, there wasn't a switch at the scene. But it just so happens, I have a switch right here. That certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it? The problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage. The stage. Where the concert was held, yes. This was found hidden there. On the stage. Are you claiming that the voice Lammermoor heard was of someone commanding another to press the switch? It's a possibility.
Objection!
Oh, Herr Forehead, I'd call that an impossibility. Why? It's hardly necessary for me to remind the court of the layout of the concert forum. The stage is quite far from Lammermoor's dressing room. Not to mention that the Gaviniers were in the middle of a concert on said stage. We aren't known for being a quiet band. You could shout all you wanted and not be heard. detective's voice is loud, but certainly not a shout. So too have Herr Forehead's cries of possibility fallen far short of being heard. Sorry, but he wouldn't have needed to shout. Excuse me. You heard what I said. Or do you need me to shout it out for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from that dressing room. Oh wait, you like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, it would be easy to get a message from someone on the stage from the dressing room. Finally! The time has come! Prosecutor Gavin, perhaps you're familiar with this? Why is that? What is it? Is that some kind of newfangled phone they invented while I wasn't looking? This is a type of transmitter, a communications device. Communications device? From what I've heard, that night, everyone on stage was wearing one of these. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, actually, they're for talking between band members. We all had one. So you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple.
Objection!
True, but wait. These send out an electronic signal. To avoid interference with the audio systems, their range is quite limited. Lemroor said it was about 30 feet, right? Look at this cross-section diagram of the concert forum. Exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet. That can't be. So when Lemroor heard the shooter's voice, he could have been talking to someone on stage.
Objection!
Ha! You're claiming this is the switch in question? Why did it have to be on the stage at the time? It could be placed in a pocket and carried anywhere. Someone could have hid it on the stage after the fact. Hey, he's got a point. How do we know that it was there when she heard the voice? When the shooter said press the switch? Well, I guess we don't. An unfortunate situation. I'm afraid that until we know where the switch was, there's little point in debating it. I'm sure this was the way to go with this. What is this switch, anyway? We don't even know that basic fact. Wait a second. I do know what this switch is. And if you follow that train of logic to its incredible conclusion, it ends up in proof that completely changes this case. What's up, Apollo? Apollo? We know about the switch, right? We know what it is. Yeah? Well, think of when it was used that day. Think of what happened. Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no further information to share concerning the switch. Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Justice. I've been remiss in not telling the court this before. I know what the switch is. Well, it seems the defense is set upon linking the switch to the case. Let's see your evidence of the link. What evidence do you have to explain what the switch is? So, I just wanted to make sure. Identical igniters in Gavin's guitar.
Take that!
Prosecutor Gavin, you remember this? That what? It's another one of those newfangled phones. This is an igniter. What phone looks like this? Igniter? You mean it's like a lighter? Yes, actually. You aren't saying the switch is a remote. I am. This is a remote trigger for an igniter. What? Look, I'll show you. Yo! Mr. Justice, you will cease and desist from burning down this courtroom. Sorry, that was a bit more fire than I expected. My whiskers is caught on fire. Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself. This switch is a remote igniter trigger. Doesn't that suggest something to you? You're talking about what happened to me, aren't you? Ah! Exactly. That night at the concert, there was one unusual burst of flame. When your guitar caught a fire in the middle of your performance. Wasn't that part of the stage show, though? Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such a thing had been planned. And the guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake. That's right. He got it in Virginia from Lemroor. He said the sound was amazing. Before it burned, of course. Now it just kind of smokes. The better the guitar, the brighter it burns. Hair, forehead. Yes? Don't tell me you're trying to tie these two things together. Those being the shooter's voice heard by Lammeror, and the guitar suddenly catching on fire. I am. It's really simple when you think about it. Mr. Litthouse and the shooter were at the crime scene. The shooter was wearing a headset. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. The switch was pressed and the guitar caught fire. Well, that does seem to make sense. Though something about it is bugging me. You can't quite put my finger on it. Really? That seems pretty simple to me.
Objection!
Hair, forehead. Don't destroy what little respect I have for you. Again, he's a nice guy, but he's also a jerk. I was expecting something a little more sensible. I guess I was wrong. What's this all about, Prosecutor Gavin? Your simple story simply makes no sense. Think, that night my guitar caught fire, yes. The cause may have been this, indeed. However, the guitar caught fire during the second set. That's right, of course. The guitar caught fire during Lemuror's song. Indeed, yet the shooter happened during the third set. The two are utterly unrelated. Yes, that must have been what was bugging me. The whole premise for this is faulty. See, this story makes no sense.
Objection!
Are you sure about that? What exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice? Maybe it's not the premise for my explanation of the switch that's at fault. Maybe it's our premise for the entire case so far. What premise is this specifically? I'm glad you asked. I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place in the third act.
Objection!
Pursuit theme! What's this? But Detective Emma Skye heard shots and found the body. All of this happened in the third act.
Objection!
Gunshots rang out. And according to his testimony, Machi was in that dressing room at the time. Where are you going with this, Mr. Justice? Stay with me, Your Honor. He also told us this in his testimony. Namely, that the victim had already been shot. We all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting. This is insane. Just before the shooting took place, the shooter was heard on his headset, telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. We know that a remote trigger igniter was inside the guitar. From all these facts, we can draw only one conclusion. The crime did not take place during the third act, but during the battle performance, the second act. What? Order! 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 But that goes against the evidence. What does, Your Honor? This crime was carried out according to the lyrics of that song, yes? Hey, he's right, look. The bullet is supposed to come after the fire. You're thinking about it the wrong way. Huh? Look, why would the shooter craft the events of the day to follow the lyrics anyway? It's an awful lot of trouble to go through. With little merit for person doing it. Well, certainly the request had some reason. Yeah, they did. A reason that made it advantageous for it to follow the lyrics. They're saying the order was reversed on purpose. Reversed, Prosecutor Gavin. If the criminal followed the lyrics strictly, then yes. The shooting would have had to come after the guitar burst into flame. Yet Hair Forehead has raised another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came not after, but just before the fire. Couldn't have put it better myself. We're only meant to think that the shooting came after the guitar burst into flame. That was the criminal's objective. The crime followed the lyrics to a point, but that was the ruse. Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body? I'm actually not sure whether he actually was going along with the lines on purpose. If we're saying it's Darian was there when we were talking about how it all followed the lyrics. So I kind of, like, as I was watching it, I was like, oh, he's there as we're saying that it followed the lyrics. I wonder if that was what triggered him to do this, to make the body rise up to the sky. Like it wasn't the plan until we made it the plan. That was the final touch to make us think he'd followed the lyrics the whole way. Right, because we gave that idea to him when we were talking about it, because he was present during that conversation. I don't know, just theory. Order! Order, order. And that would explain this most unusual situation. It does. The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi. In other words, the killer was someone who had an alibi for the third set, but not the second.
Objection!
I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but sadly it has. Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Oh, it sounds good. I'll give you that. You've given us a reason why the killer bothered to follow the lyrics of my song. But I question your logic, for it's flawed from the very beginning. Flawed? Yes, contradiction, therefore, one I've pointed out several times, no less. At the time of the crime, the small window at the scene was closed. How could Lemuror have heard our voice through it? Oh. I know that you would like to divert our attention from this critical fact, but you're basing your entire line of reasoning on a false premise. Right. Lemuror's testimony is my entire case. The voice she heard, the shooter's voice. What if she couldn't hear it, Apollo? Look, what do we have? A man saying press the switch. And near the crime scene we have a switch, which acts as a remote trigger for an igniter. And last but not least, Prosecutor Gavin's flaming guitar. It can't all be coincidence, but how do I make it work? I see a more direct line of questioning is required. When the crime scene was investigated, immediately after the crime, that window was closed. Care to tell us how Lemuror heard the voice? Keep point to be sure. Mr. Justice, can you explain this to the court? Okay, Justice, you've got one thing to prove, and one thing only. Lemuror heard the voice. And she heard it during the second set. Think, how was Lemuror able to hear the voice? She has divine hearing! We know that the window wasn't open. Javier has made that very clear. She has divine hearing is just ridiculous. She must have been somewhere else. When we investigated the scene, the window was closed. The shooter had no reason to close it, had it been open either. Meaning it was impossible to hear the voice through that window. Huh, it's good to hear you making sense again. For a moment, I was afraid you might be a Virginian too. As I was saying, Lemuror could not have heard the voice through that window. So there can only be one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely. Oh, what's this? You do amuse me so. And here I thought you and Good Sense were back on speaking terms. Now I'm afraid you and Good Sense speak two entirely different languages. Shall I interpret for you? Lemuror clearly stated she heard the voice through that small window. And there's only one small window at the scene. Are you sure? Think about it. Isn't there another small window at the scene? There is? Oh, I know that. He wants us to ask him. I love... Apollo is very different from Phoenix. Phoenix was like, he was the one who was getting the "Are you sure's" thrown at him, but I love how Apollo is just constantly like, "You sure about that? You come get me, foe." Little smug little smile. Very well. You claim Lemuror heard the voice from another location. Mr. Justice, show us where this location was. Lemuror heard the voice from here. I'm enjoying the pursuit theme. The Ace Attorney music is great. Just throwing that out there. Also, I'm giving you guys some time if you want to guess where she heard the voice from. I do like how it's always been foreshadowing it, because she kept saying like, "Oh, my language is limited. Like I'm not sure whether I'm saying the right thing." And Clavier is just like, "Yeah, no, window is perfect," but it actually wasn't. It wasn't a window.
Take that!
Does this look like a small window to you, Mr. Justice? The state of modern society can be read from numerous artifacts and artifacts. Since anything can be a window in our society. Wait a second. Wait, can I go to the left? Am I allowed to go left? Oh, I am. I'm sorry. That was the problem. I didn't know that I was able to do that.
Take that!
There we go. Same thing, though. That was definitely a vent up there. This is where Lemuror heard that voice from. But that's no small window. And that's the air vent. feel like I made that same exact mistake the last time I played this. Like, I'm like, oh, it's the vent up here. And then it's all like, hey, anything could be a small window. What did she tell us? She said she's a Virginian, unfamiliar with our language. It's not a stretch to imagine she called this air vent a small window. Now you've done it. You've gone beyond ridiculous and into ludicrous. So Lemuror was up in the ventilation system listening to this man's voice? It's the only logical explanation, yes. Logical! I do not think this word means what you think it means, Hair Forehead. Okay, what about it isn't logical? Huh, it hardly merits saying! Why would Lemuror be in the ventilation system? Hiding like a rat, no offense intended to her, of course. The explanation for that is simple, Prosecutor Gavin. Isn't it, Lemuror? You've been listening to our discussion here, yes? Yes. I admit it's had me quite confused since yesterday. Yes, the small window was closed. But why should that mean I could not hear through it? I feared our prosecutor might himself need an interpreter. The problem here is words. Lemuror, this small window through which you heard the voice, was it up high, on the ceiling of the room, not low on a wall? Yes, it was up on the ceiling. What? Order, order. I will have order. Witness, you will clarify the statement to the court. Are you, in fact, saying that you were up above the ceiling of the room? And that's where you heard the moment of the crime? Yes, in fact, I was. I am sorry, I never imagined it would become such an important point. Yes, well, why the heck were you up there? I believe it's time for another testimony. I'm not sure I can't. May I remind you, this is a murder trial. We will hear your testimony. Tell us why you witnessed the crime from above the ceiling in that room. Please. Well, looks like I'm on the right track. Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice. I had heard there was a small window there before. It was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I had heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. I'm bound to secrecy on that matter. I think it's very clear what happened here. Bound to secrecy? In my line of work, one has many obligations to uphold. But you say you were in the middle of your performance. So this did happen during the second set. I did not witness the crime, you must understand. I only know what I heard. Yes, but you must tell us what you were doing in detail. That's what the cross-examination is for. Yeah, Hair Forehead? Our mission in this court is to discern the truth. No obligation, no binding pact may hinder that mission. Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination. What are you going to do, Apollo? I'm going to find out the truth. She was up above that ceiling for a reason. I just have to get it out of her. So, without a word, you just let the third set start? After the curtain closed for the second set, there was still much to do. You could have prevented this whole misunderstanding if you had only told us sooner. Yes, perhaps I could have. I see little point in badgering the witness. What's done is done. The mind works differently when one is in the middle of a performance. If I have lost my voice in the middle of a show and kept on singing, completely unaware. Singing without a voice? If only all contradictions were so obvious. If only I could get Lemuror to talk. Pressuring her like this doesn't seem to be getting me anywhere. You heard the gunshots during the second set, during your performance. You're quite sure? Yes. Why would I lie about the time? Why didn't you tell us this yesterday? I totally combined his voice with Apollo's. Why didn't you tell us this yesterday? No one asked me. I thought you all knew. I told you Maki was not the killer. I told you this many times. Yes, you did. But you never told us why. I am sorry. I was not able to speak of it. Unable or unwilling? She's not talking, Apollo. What do we do? We just have to prove it ourselves. As long as she's bound by this pact of silence, she won't talk. But if I can prove why she was up there, she'll have to. How are you going to do that? She was singing on stage, Apollo. She couldn't have been up above the ceiling, too. Yes, she could. I've got a theory as to why, too. Maybe I've got the evidence to prove it. This is the part where it's like, I know the secret, but I don't know how to prove the secret. Exactly who bound you to secrecy? I'm not sure I'm allowed to say who it was. No, I think perhaps that is alright. It's just a name after all. Oh, this is going to be very helpful for my evidence later. It was Valent Grammari. Perhaps you know him? Valent Grammari? What? You mean Uncle Valent? Oh, Valent Grammari? Who's Valent Grammari? A Grand Magician, the one responsible for the illusion performed during our concert. Clavier's losing it. Interesting reaction, Prosecutor Gavin. Emperor was bound to secrecy. It's going to take some hard-hitting proof to make her talk. I think I know why she was up there, but how do I prove it? I'm just gonna press everything, just to cover all my bases here. Above the ceiling, could you be more specific? I cannot, because you're bound to secrecy. Yes. To tell the truth, I was not supposed to even say I was above the ceiling. I dare not say more. Doesn't sound like I'll be able to coax it out of her just by asking. Do I show this? Because it shows what the ventilation above the ceiling stretches to. By small window, you mean the air vent? I only remembered I needed to be careful where I put my hands and feet. I cannot see the light coming through the window, of course. The air vent grate could creep me up, certainly. So I was walking very carefully when I heard the gunshots. Startled, I crouched and listened. That's when I heard his voice come from the room. Darian's voice. I knew something terrible had happened, yet okay. It's either that I present the video or the cross-section.
Objection!
Okay. Limroar, truth be told, the reason for your presence above the ceiling is quite clear. Especially when you consider what happened during your performance. What happened? Yes, it's all right here on this video. As we can see, Limroar was clearly not on stage for her entire performance. Though it saddens me to be so realistic, Limroar is incapable of actually vanishing, let alone teleportation. So the only explanation that she was hidden from view. And during that time, she moved to the back of the forum. Apollo! What, Trucy? It's not nice to reveal a magician's secrets. It's against the rules. But I'm a lawyer! I'm not supposed to be nice. This is all very fascinating, but how is it possible? And there's only 20 seconds between when she disappears and reappears. She couldn't have moved that fast. Clavier, you wanna say something, dude? Is something wrong, Prosecutor Gavin? This was his concert, his show. He knows how the illusion was performed. Ha! He's just realizing his own oversight. Let's look at the cross-section diagram again. Here, we can trace a route through the ceiling. It goes from the stage, through the backstage, to the rear of the forum. Ah! Recall Lemuror's testimony from yesterday. So on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. She went from the stage to the backstage exit. A perfect description of this route above the ceiling. Lemuror knew of this because of her part in the illusion, but she wasn't the only one who knew. What? Just now in the lobby, Machi told me something. I know if opening vent, I can leave stage and backstage. He said that? Oh, were you not informed, Prosecutor Gavin? I knew about the vanishing act, of course. Yet I had no idea of the route that would be used. Why didn't that magician tell me? Magicians only reveal details of their acts on a need-to-know basis. They're the bread and butter of a magician's life, you know. Which is why he bound Lemuror to secrecy. Well, Lemuror? I am impressed, Mr. Attorney. Machi was right about you. So what does this mean? Are you saying you used this route above the ceiling? I did. Well, that's that. But I'm still a little confused. Why is that, Your Honor? As I said before. There was very little time between when she disappeared and when she reappeared. 20 seconds tops. How could she do it so fast? Especially if she stopped to hear the shooter's voice. That's not a good question. Can the witness explain this to the court? Cannot. Very well. Mr. Justice. Yes? It's all up to you. Do your thing. What thing, Your Honor? You need to explain how Lemuror was able to teleport like she did. Or I'm throwing your case off with the bathwater. Why do I get picked on? It's Lemuror who isn't going along with the program here. As I've stated before, I am not at liberty to speak of the illusion that night in detail. Then you'll just have to tell us what you can. We'll hear your testimony on this. Mr. Justice, it will be your job to wring the truth out of her. Yes, if you would, please. Right. Feel like a student before finals. Good luck, Apollo! The big illusion! This is fun. I love this case. I followed the route exactly as I was instructed. There's an emergency exit in the backstage, where a stagehand waited. From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side of the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. I was on my way when I heard the voice. 2 minutes, you say? The mystery deepens. I suppose it was too much to hope that the judge would come up with something. As does my curiosity. Take it away, Mr. Justice. Right, Your Honor. All I have to do is find the contradiction between what Lemuror is saying and what we can see plainly in the video. I figured it out already. I'm a magician, after all. Well, tell me. Not a chance. I can't reveal another magician's secrets. Come on. Hey, you're supposed to be on my side here. So the 2 minutes is the problem, right?
Hold it!
Because the judge said 20 seconds. 2 minutes? Yes, it can be done in 1 minute if you're running. Running in that cramped, dark tunnel above the ceiling? Mr. Attorney, have you forgotten? Dark or lit, it makes no difference to me. That's true. But... So you're saying that on the night of the concert you made a trip in 2 minutes? Yes, though I nearly didn't make it in time. You see, I stopped halfway. Lemuror disappears on the video for 20 seconds. But she says she made the trip in 2 minutes. How? If you want my professional opinion, I bet the answer's right there in that video. Well, Mr. Justice, perhaps you have some evidence for us? Something that can explain the discrepancy between the video and her testimony? Evidence explaining the discrepancy? I have an idea.
have an idea. We'll see if it works.
Take that!
Aha, so this is it. The magical key to unlocking this illusion star secret. Tell us how it works. Quickly, I can't bear the suspense. I was kind of hoping someone else would jump in at this point. Well, you see...
Objection!
Oh, Judge, I do hate to spoil the mood. But I haven't the faintest idea what he's talking about, and neither does he. I'm a little confused too there, Apollo. Right, by which I conclude that I was wrong. Better luck next time, Pollywog. Mr. Justice, I'm responsible for spoiling my mood. So the tear I just saw in the judge's eye. The key is in the video. I just... Whoops. Unraveling illusion can't be so... Oh, maybe this is where I present. The tape.
Objection!
No, it isn't. I know what the problem is. I just can't show it correctly, apparently.
Hold it!
And it was Darian's voice you heard. Yes, I'm certain it was him.
Objection!
A matter best left for later, yeah? Put that forehead of yours to work on this illusion first.
Objection!
Hold on, I think the identity of the killer is a little more important, don't you? Importance. Objection overruled. Tell us about the illusion. No use trying to avoid the problem at hand, Apollo. Trying to avoid the problem is the murder trial. The killer is the problem. Contradiction between Moore's testimony and the video. Unraveling an illusion can't be so different from solving a normal case, right? Okay. Let's just press everything, because that's what I should be doing anyway. How did you proceed along this route? Well, I walked. But you arrived behind the forum much too fast to have been walking. And tell the truth, you rode some kind of vehicle. A vehicle? What vehicle? What a novel idea. I like it. Hey, that's not a bad guess. Wrong, but not bad. Haha, yes, laugh at the dumb attorney. I don't mind. I'm sorry, but the girl is right. That vent was much too small for vehicles. It was a tight fit. Even I had to crouch as I walked. I cannot imagine a vehicle that would fit in such a small space. If it wasn't a vehicle, what was it? You're gonna be going for a while there, Mr. Justice. Ready for the next part. I feel like I'm on some kind of quiz show.
Hold it!
Did everyone on the concert staff know about the trick? Not all. Only a few that were needed to help. See, like I said, it's on need-to-know basis. So not many people knew about the trick. What were the stagehands required to do? One needed to open the emergency exit. The door to the stairs is locked, but once through there...
Hold it!
So when you came back out, you were behind the audience? Yes, that's how it works. Not a bad show, if I do say so myself. That's Uncle Valet for you. The old grammar I touch. But on the video, you were only gone for 20 seconds. How is that possible? That's the part I don't get either. Yes, it would be hard to get so far in only 20 seconds. Okay. The problem is, and it's something that I noticed and that I brought up earlier, when the spark hit. Look at the guitar. There it is. Before she disappears. Which means that she is down there hearing the voice before she disappeared. I need to prove that. I just need to figure out where.
Hold it!
2 minutes. I stopped halfway. She says she made the trip in 2 minutes. Something that can explain the discrepancy between the video and her testimony. What's your professional opinion on this one, Tuesday? Sorry, I don't work in evidence, and I don't work in tricks. I'm an attorney, not a magician. Sure, Daddy would loved working on this. Thanks, that makes me feel oh so much better. I don't know anything about this, but I find this mystery fascinating, and I'm not letting this trial go until we further get to the bottom of this. Defense will cross-examine. Okay, so this is where they are cueing the evidence. So I think that the igniter is the evidence. Either that or the guitar.
Take that!
I guess not. Oh, I'm getting dangerously low on health. Hold on just a second. Continuing.
Objection!
Yeah, Gavin. Whatever. Okay, maybe it's the guitar.
Hold it!
Unless I'm supposed to present the igniter on that other testimony.
Take that!
I'm-
Objection!
Maybe I'm supposed to talk about the igniter on the other. I'm gonna give me a second. Sometimes the worst enemy of this game is knowing the game and forgetting all of the little intricacies in between. Because there have been several times throughout this case where I was looking at this piece of evidence that I'm supposed to present, and yes, I looked it up, I cheated. When I looked at this piece of evidence that I'm supposed to present and was like, oh, I know why it's there, because she was going through the ventilation system and it went...
Hold it!
We're gonna take a look at the video again. So, we're gonna take a look at her. I don't know, I think the logic is kind of iffy here, and I don't remember how I figured it out my first playthrough. Maybe I just presented a bunch of evidence. But whenever I've seen this evidence, I was like, I know exactly why it's there. It's not because of what she claimed earlier. It's because of her climbing through the vents. And it falling when she was climbing through the vents. The point is that this Lammermoor is very clearly different than the previous Lammermoor. Because of this. Again, I've been thinking about this the entire time, but I wouldn't have thought that this would be the time
to present it. But thus is the logic of the game, and that's how it's going through. So, here we go. Lemroar. Do you happen to remember this brooch?
Ah, the brooch. We saw that yesterday, did we not?
It was found at the scene, Your Honor. And you're bringing this up now. Why? I thought we had already determined when it was dropped. So did I, but we hadn't. Take another look at this video. Sorry. I'm just gonna play this video over and over again. So she has the brooch. Here you can see she's wearing the brooch.
So she is.
Let's look a bit later.
What? The brooch, it's gone!
What? Yes. The brooch disappeared in the short space of 20 seconds. And it takes a full minute to run from the stage to the backstage. Which means there can be only one explanation. The Lemroar we see before the Vanishing Act and the Lemroar we see after are two different people.
What?
The brooch was found on the floor of the crime scene. And not just on the floor, but on the floor directly beneath the air vent. Lemroar, tell me, did you drop the brooch on your way from the stage to the backstage? At the very moment you witnessed the crime? Yes, I think I did. And that is how our victim knew that she witnessed it. I'm guessing, because he saw the brooch fall.
Order, Prosecutor Gavin.
From your expression, I gather you had no idea this was the case, Herr Judge? I, of course, knew about it.
What?
Don't get me wrong, I wasn't hiding it. It just never occurred to me that the switch and the shooting took place at the same time. So I was right. There was a switch. There was. Just before the stage's tower rose, Lemroar was replaced.
Well, we're on the subject. Just who was this replacement?
Lemroar? Why, the man behind the illusion, Valant Gremorai.
It was Gremorai?
That's quite the illusion. But I still don't get one thing. Yes. The switch happened before the tower rose, correct? So you weren't on the stage. That's right. This fake Lemroar is still singing. And she's pretty good.
That's true.
Come on, Apollo, that's an easy one. They were just playing a recording. The Gaviniers aren't some kind of air guitar band, Fraulein. Oh, you mean I'm wrong? When we play a show live, we play live, no recordings. Perhaps you can explain, Lemroar? Very well.
Yes, do tell. And add it to your testimony.
Now we can move on. I had to keep singing even while I moved.
Hold it!
You were singing? Yes. Mr. Gavin expressed a dislike for recordings, so I used this.
Wait, so you were singing the whole time? Even when you were crawling above the ceiling toward the backstage?
Why should it matter where I sing when everywhere I go is the same darkness?
But if you were singing while you were walking...
That's right! Wouldn't the shooter and the victim have heard? She was singing right over their heads after all.
That is right. You sure? You know, it'd be pretty hard of hearing to miss someone singing in the ceiling.
Once again, we come back to the state of the scene of the crime.
What state?
I know what he means! The old speaker, Apollo!
The speaker?
That speaker was blaring at the time of the murder. As for monitoring the stage from this room. Monitoring? Pipes the real-time feed from the stage to the microphones. Useful for knowing when your set's coming up. Satisfied? That dressing room is fitted with a large speaker playing a direct feed from the stage. At my request, actually. So Lemroar singing in the ceiling sounded just like Lemroar singing over the speaker.
Ingenious! Her voice was hidden by her voice!
Ah. Lemroar? I've just remembered something.
Do tell.
When I heard the noise, the gunshots, yes? It startled me, so I stopped singing. What? I forgot the words I was supposed to sing. The song stopped? Thankfully, it was the very beginning of the second verse, so not many would notice.
Forehead! That mixing board I lent you, where is it?
The mixing... Huh? That machine, Apollo? The one that breaks music into tracks?
Oh, this. I completely forgotten about it. Let's take a listen. The song does stop there. It does? I must have missed it. Look at the lyric sheet. At the top of the second verse. See where it says pleasure, pleasure? And now listen again. Only one pleasure. This is evidence indeed. I believe we are guilty of making a terrible mistake. The crime didn't happen during the third set. It happened during the second, during Lemroar's ballad. If that's true, then no one on stage during the second set could have been the shooter. Which means that Darien Crescent could have done it. He wasn't on stage for the second set. Well, Prosecutor Gavin? Fascinating. I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turned around quite so thoroughly. Yet one problem remains. What's that, Prosecutor Gavin? Her forehead's theory does have a certain kind of logic to it. Yet it is entirely based upon Lemroar's testimony. Yes, is there a problem with this? Well, it's quite simple, though it pains me to say it. What if she is lying to protect the defendant?
Objection!
But you have no proof! All I'm saying is that the truth is as yet unclear. Until we hear directly from the man himself. The man, you know. Yes. Though he is a friend and a band member, Darien Crescent must take the stand. See no other way. As someone with a new perspective on the case. As a suspect, to be frank. Finally, the rat's coming out of his hole. I'm ready to catch him. Darien Crescent, get ready for justice. This is a good time as any to pause for a brief recess. The prosecution will summon the witness. Have him here and ready by the time we begin. I'm the last man who needs to be reminded of what his duties are. Very well. The court is adjourned for a 15-minute recess. We will talk to the man himself next time. Sorry for the crazy wandering there. That was crazy. I do love this case. It just tripped me up there. But yeah, every single time that I was reminded of that brooch, I was like, oh, I know why it's there. Like when we first saw it, I was like, oh, I know why it's there. It dropped from the ceiling. And then whenever she was like, oh yeah, I peeked in through the door, I was like, no, I'm pretty sure that's not how the brooch got there. Yeah, lots of lies in this case, but I guess that's how we get the contradictions, so what can you do? Well then, it is going to all finish up in the finale of this case next time, so tune in, stay tuned. I will talk to you guys then.